Alright, I've got a package here from Third Millennium Audio. They make speakers specifically for the Miata, so I picked up a set of their M800 speakers. Set of M800 door speakers. These are 8-inchers, as well as a set of their M200 speakers, which are supposed to be a direct fit replacement for the speakers in the Wind Blocker on 2004 to 2005 models. So, pricing, the big speakers come in a bit over $100, which is actually very reasonable for a set of quality speakers, so we'll see how they hold up. And then the smaller speakers were, I believe, $79.99 for the pair. So, I opted for a couple of baffles here. Here we have the M200 set of speakers. This will be the larger speakers. And we've also got some stuff going on in here. Let's see what all this is about. So we have some replacement door clips here. These do tend to break. Got a mounting kit here. Take a look at these instructions. Wow, that's a lot of pages for just sticking some speakers in. They've got a little plug on them, so they're actually wired up to be a direct plug-and-play fit to the stock harness from the factory speakers. Let's have a look at one of these M200 speakers. Alright, here's one of those direct fit speakers. It's, I believe, about 2.5 inches diameter. I'm out here grabbing the wind deflector off the car. Now, mine's mounted up a little bit uniquely so that I can get it to fit in with my roll bar. But basically, you'll have two 10mm bolts on each side that you can take out, and that'll free it up. And then back here in the center, there's a little panel. We're going to pop that off. And then disconnect this wiring harness here. And we should be able to then take it out of the car. There we are. Okay, I've got my wind deflector out of the car. On these, you'll have a little panel here that you need to pop off, but because of my custom mounting solution, those are already missing from here. In case you were wondering, this is basically here because I need to push the whole assembly about 1.5 inches forward for it to not constantly be hitting the roll bar. So, we need to get into the speakers back here, and there should be, been a little while since I was in here, there should be a little place where we can stick a flathead to pop them off. Trying to remember. Oh. Or you just grab it and it pops off pretty easily. So there we are. That's what it looks like inside of one of these. So we can see there's replacement speakers here. Now these do have a built-in crossover capacitor right there, but they cross over at a significantly lower frequency than the originals. So should get significantly less tinny sound out of them. I'm going to grab a Phillips head screwdriver so we can take that old speaker out. Pretty easy. We'll remove this harness by pushing the little tab in and pulling the two sections apart from each other. There we are. And then this we can just unwind from here, and then the whole thing should slide out pretty easily. So here we'll have a little side-by-side of the two speakers. Ooh, this one's really hot. It's been out baking in the heat all day. And now we can just take our replacement, slot it into place. We'll go ahead and route that cable through here. And we can plug that in. Maybe that way. There we are. I can't clip this in because we've got this plate here in the way, but we'll go ahead and replace the screws up here. Alright, I double checked the instructions and they said that this stuff is supposed to be used as acoustic insulation. So I'm going to go ahead and take what was supplied, break it about in half, and it says just spread it around loosely in here. So I'm going to... we'll do it a little nicer than that, but really there's not a whole lot to do here. I thought it might be fun to do a little comparison of the two speakers inside, so I've got the old one hooked up to my amp over there on the Zone 2 outputs. Now I'm just using the onboard microphone of my camera for this test, so definitely not the most scientific thing ever, but should be a nice little way to gauge the difference in sound. So I'm just going to play a little bit of music here. We can hear that's fairly tinny. Let me skip forward to where the bass is. Okay, so there's supposed to be some electric bass there, but it's pretty much entirely missing, probably due to just how high this capacitor here filters frequencies out. So let's hook up the M200 speaker and see what it sounds like. Now there is of course only so much you can do with the speaker of this size, but hopefully there should be a audible difference. Yeah, we can actually hear that instrument there now. So I mean, yes, still definitely a little harsh, but for a speaker of this size, it definitely sounds a lot better than the original one. I'm sure that's largely due to the improved crossover, and it's also just built out of better materials than this cheap paper cone on the old one. And I should note that the speakers should sound a little bit better in here than they did when I just had it sitting out in the open, since it can sort of resonate within this chamber. But then it is still a little 2-inch speaker, so just manage expectations. It's not going to blow the world away. These back speakers are just meant to fill in the sound a little bit, not to really provide anything major to the experience, though. Alright, let's go throw this in the car. Up next, we're going to prep the speakers by getting them installed into these little adapter brackets that are supplied. So I opted to get the XTC baffles, which will be acting as rain shields. Now, the instructions just say cut out the bottom half. That way we're getting protection from rain on the top half, but air can still move freely through the other half of it to get proper acoustic performance out of these speakers. But they really could have done a better job indicating which direction is up. All the pictures are cropped in fairly close, so you can't see the extra holes to get alignment. And it's not really clearly marked on here or anything. So my assumption is going to be that, well, the wires on the speaker should be going down. So we'll just go off of that with where this lines up here, and then assume that the two top, or assume that everything around that should be symmetrical. So I'm going to go with the bottom being here, and then the sides having these extra holes and stuff. So in order to do this, we need to put the baffle in between the brackets and the speaker. And we'll go ahead and cut what we need to out of this. I'm just going to use a pair of scissors. So I'm going to start in the middle, making a little pinch to work my way out from. And then we'll come up here to about the halfway point. And we'll cut across horizontally over here. And we're going to leave just a little bit on the sides so that there's something to clamp down to. But we do want to make this hole basically as big as we can, while being sure that we can have a good seal and keep all the water out. Okay, so there's one baffle. We'll take that and we will pop it in here. Along with our speaker, we'll feed that wire through there. It will be a little bit snug. You can trim the excess off here or leave it on. That's up to you. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to use my Phillips head screwdriver to poke some holes through here. 2, 3. Okay. That'll get things lined up to start with. And now, based on the pictures, it looks like the nut actually goes on the outward facing side of this. So we're going to have 3 lock nuts on each side. We're going to take these little screws and we're going to put them into the 3 countersunk holes over here. So we'll go ahead and take these screws and feed them through here. Now the instructions do say don't use too much force here. This adapter plate is just PVC and it is not designed to take a whole lot of force, so it is pretty flexible and we don't want to snap it. Camera is wanting to focus on everything except my hands today. Alright, there we go. So we've got those 3 nuts started there, going through the baffle. And now I'm going to grab some adjustable pliers to hold this side, and then from the back, or adjustable wrench on this side, and then we'll screw in from the back. Alright, we're just going to get that nice and snug down. Alright, and with that we have this speaker ready to go. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Alright, that's in there pretty decent. Not going anywhere. We are ready to take the door cards off the car and start putting these things in.
It's very noisy where I live, so I'll be narrating over this part in post. I'll be talking through this on my NB2 Miata here. To take the door card off, we have 3 Phillips screws to contend with, 1 in the latch here, and then 2 in the pull handle. We also need to pop 3 clips out. You can see that one of mine was already missing, so I'll replace it when I put this back together. After that, you can just give a firm yank outwards and then lift up, and the card should pop right off. We can attach the stock tweeter here. Third Millennium recommends leaving it disconnected when paired with their speaker, so I'm going to do that and just zip tie the cord up so it isn't flopping around too much. Down on the main speaker, there's Phillips screw at the top, bottom, left, and right side that you can take out and then disconnect the wire connector. After that, we can apply this strip of insulation around the perimeter of the speaker cutout in the door. It doesn't need to be perfect, but you want to keep it flat and make sure the ends touch to form a decent seal. From here, we can just do all the previous steps backwards to get the new speaker installed. Make sure you test it to make sure it's working before you put the door card back on. Then you can just do the exact same thing on the other side to wrap this up.
Alright, sorry about the weird lighting. It's getting dark out and I don't have any way to run power for lights out here, so I just have a little battery powered thing. Let's talk about the sound on this. So, I'm not going to give a super technical detailing of the sound qualities of these speakers because, frankly, I'm not qualified to do that. If you want high fidelity audiophile grade sound in your car, the Miata is probably not the right car for that. So, setting expectations, what I want from these speakers is to be able to hear and enjoy the music while on the freeway, which is usually the loudest scenario you encounter in this car in day-to-day conditions. But I'm not expecting anything too mind-blowing. So to that end, I've got a microphone here positioned roughly where a passenger's head would go. It's a Blue Yeti set to omnidirectional pickup mode. Not ideal, but it's what I could manage. So I've got some YouTube audio library tracks on this USB stick here. Hopefully the background noise isn't too irritating for you guys, because I do live in a rather noisy area right now. So let's get this fired up. And then tomorrow I will go on the freeway on the way to work, and we'll see how it sounds. Then I'll give you my thoughts on it. But for now, I'm just going to sort of describe it. From my initial impressions, this music's going to come on, isn't it? From my initial impressions during the installation, they definitely sound clearer than what I had before, which were, I think, Rock Auto's I'll specify that later. Let me go ahead and pull up music, and we'll switch to the USB stick. Alright, so it sounds pretty good actually. It is augmented slightly. I do have a subwoofer in this car. It's a very slim one, tucked away behind the passenger seat. And I have that there just to fill out the bottom end of the sound a little bit. I'll turn that off for now so we can hear what it sounds like with just the Third Millennium speakers. And it still sounds pretty good. I can say it's very obvious that those rear speakers are doing a lot more work than they used to. Let me turn this down so you can hear me. They're doing a ton more work, so you can definitely tell some sound is coming from behind you. I'm going to pan and fade the audio around to the individual speakers, just so we can hear what they all sound like. So here's front left. And same thing, front right. Those front speakers, they're very clear. I do like them. Here's the rear. And rear right. So they're still lacking low end, definitely, but I mean, the speaker's this big, you can't expect that much from it. Mix those fronts in, and it does sound really good. This is a pretty rich sound with just those 4 speakers. If I turn the sub on, it fills it out just that little bit more. Maybe even too much. I'll turn that down a little. I'll turn that down, honestly. That sounds very good, so... Yep, I've got the EQ all flatlined. That sounds good. Alright, that's enough of that. So, yeah, that sounds very good. Those front speakers are really clear. The rear ones, you can definitely tell that they're a big step up from the stock ones. The stock ones, honestly, you couldn't even tell they were there 99% of the time. They're so quiet, so tinny, so shrill. These are a huge, huge enhancement over that. So I'm going to drive it to work tomorrow, formulate thoughts on that, and if I can figure out a camera setup for it, we might talk about them while rolling along a little bit. It's not tomorrow. In fact, as I sat down to edit this video, I realized it's been 2 months to the day since I installed these speakers. So, needless to say, I've had plenty of time to get to know them. I've definitely driven to work a couple times, and I've also gone on a couple of road trips with them. So, everything that I said during my initial impressions holds true. I really like the clarity that the front speakers offer, but the real star of the show is those rear speakers. They are just a tremendous upgrade over what comes stock in that wind deflector, and I think it's really cool that Third Millennium offers this product in the first place. For the main door speakers on the Miata, there's no shortage of options on the market because you can use pretty much any standard speaker that you want to drop in there. But I haven't seen anybody else that offers a easy plug-and-play replacement kit for the wind deflector speakers on the NB, and I think it's really cool that they have that product. So, highly recommended from me. Now, I do like the sound quality of these speakers, but on the volume side, I mean, the volume is normal for speakers. It's just that the Miata is a very loud car to be in. So, on the freeway with the windows down, there's a lot of noise that these speakers need to fight against, and especially when I'm using Bluetooth or Android Auto, which seem to have a lower volume level on my head unit, sometimes I just want a little bit more sound out of them. So I might look into getting a dedicated amplifier to get a little bit more out of these speakers. So again, highly recommended for me. I do like these things. I'll have a link down to Third Millennium's website in the description if you want to check them out for yourself. And other than that, that's pretty much all I have. So thumbs, comments, subs, you know the drill. I've been having a lot of stuff going on this year. As you might tell, there have been no videos pretty much, but I'm building my first house, so we'll have some videos coming out with me doing some stuff around there. I want to build out a cool garage, so I'm really looking forward to that. I've got new filming equipment and everything, so stay tuned. See you in the next one. Bye.